Hey everyone.
Hello.
It's Kendall and Madison here. We just wanted to make a quick video for you guys to maybe just talk about a few things and just encourage y'all. So right now we are in Chattanooga,
We're
Tennessee, at Madison's house with
on
her
Signal
family.
Mountain.
And just enjoying being outside a little bit and just taking some time to reflect on, I guess, this year and everything that's happening so far. You'll hear some noise. Her dad is
Dad's mowing.
mowing.
That's my house. That's my dad on the mower.
Somewhere, I don't know where he's at.
He's over there.
So just ignore that noise in the background, but
If you can't hear it good when we watch it back, we'll make another video.
yeah. But so just today we got word that our school in West Memphis, at least the West Memphis School District, and I think I actually across the whole state, they're continuing to postpone school or close school, whatever, until April 14th. So that kind of leaves, a lot of teachers and even students kind of in question on how is this online learning going to work? What are we going to do to make adjustments so we can still learn and do everything we need to do? And so there's some uncertainty there, a little bit of doubt even for some.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been thinking about our theme for this month, Doubt It, the thing that we've been going through in class. And we've talked about questions. We've talked about what does it mean to ask those questions? Are there answers for those questions? And this is kind of a time when a lot of people are asking questions, right? Questions of, what's going to happen in the near future? Or am I going to get sick? Is someone that I love going to get sick? And, we're kind of just asking some of those questions. And so I've just been thinking about, what does the Bible have to say about, our doubt and what we've been looking at. And I've been thinking about the story of when Jesus walks on the water and
Peter walks on the water.
Yeah, and Peter walks on the water. Yeah. So when Jesus walks on the water, then Peter walks on the water. So this comes from Matthew 14, and to give you a little bit of context, Jesus has just fed the 5,000, right? So we know there are at least 5,000 men present, and
they had kind of doubted him there too. They didn't know how the people were going to be fed, and they were going to send him home. So there was a little bit of doubt there.
Yeah, so he feeds, just thousands of people here from a small basket of food. So really cool story. But right after that, Jesus, he's tired. He's had a long day, I'm sure. Same with the apostles. And so the apostles set out on the lake, and they're crossing the lake. But Jesus goes off to pray. And it says about the fourth watch of the night, Jesus begins to walk out on the water towards their boat. And of course, you guys know the story of what happens. The disciples in the boat see him, and they're terrified, right? It's a ghost, they say. But Jesus says, it's Jesus, it's the Lord. And Peter says, if it's really you, then let me come out to you and walk on the water, basically. And Jesus says, come on. And so Peter takes a few steps, and then it even says he looks at the waves and the wind and becomes frightened, and he begins to sink. He begins to I guess, basically drown. And he yells, Lord, save me. And of course, we know that Jesus pulls him back up, and they get into the boat. And Jesus says, you have little faith. Why did you doubt? And it was quite a lesson for the disciples right there in the moment to just think about what Jesus just did, feeding the 5,000, and then to see him walk on the water, and then in that moment for them to have some doubt in the power of Jesus there and what he can do. I think, for just this time in our lives when we're in a time of uncertainty, something that has really never happened, not that people don't get sick regularly and there's, just suffering and disasters that occur, but just on such a worldwide, global level, and for it to affect our school, to affect even our churches and the way we're trying to meet, to be together.
Maybe even some of your parents' jobs and businesses and things like that.
Yeah, and so, everybody's affected in some way or another. But one thing I want us to think about is the ways that God has been faithful to us in the past, right? And whatever that means for you or your families, God has been faithful to you. I remember when I was in college at a Devo, I think we were probably discussing faith and just the topic of faith. But one girl said, and it's just stuck with me, she just mentioned that, if God has always been faithful in the past, then why wouldn't he continue to be faithful in the future? Something that, such a simple statement, but really profound. And in that moment, those apostles forgot what Jesus did, what Jesus just did that very same day, feeding the 5,000. They forgot about that and forgot that, God's faithful and God can do miracles and God can make things happen in our lives that we don't think are possible to happen. And so for right now, I want to encourage us that if you're in a time of maybe just like the rest of us where you're uncertain about what's happening and not really sure about people in your family and are their jobs affected, are they going to be sick, whatever, consider what God has done for you in the past, his faithfulness in the past. Whether that's getting you through a sickness you've previously had before, whatever that was. Maybe you've experienced death in your family at some point, right? Maybe where someone has gotten sick and unfortunately passed away or whatever, but God was faithful through that, right? And he's still with you through that. So whatever your circumstance is, considering our circumstance right now, but whatever your circumstance is, I think it's important for us to reflect on the ways that God has been faithful in the past and know that he's going to be faithful in the future. And so let's continue to press on as Christians and encourage the people around us. Encourage, if you're with each other at all, encourage each other. Hey, let's just take a moment and pray. Take a moment and thank God for all the good things he's done for us and the ways he's worked in our lives up to this point, and know that, man, he's going to be faithful in the future.
And this is like it's a good test of faith right now. I think a lot of times maybe you can relate to me in the fact that you don't feel like your faith has been tested that often. But I think now is the time where everyone's faith is kind of tested and your priorities are tested when things aren't going your way, or like my graduation ceremony's been canceled and I'm pretty mad about that, but it lets me focus on the bigger picture and to see that all of these things aren't really what's important, and that we have to trust that God is going to take care of us. And my graduation may be canceled and that might make me really mad, but does my graduation have anything to do with me getting to heaven? No, it doesn't. And so I can trust God, in the small things and in the big things that are important. And so this gives us a chance to reflect on what maybe we've been thinking is important also.
Yeah. So think about those things, guys, and find ways that find ways that God has blessed you, and recognize those and be thankful for those. So that's our encouragement for you guys. But until we see y'all again, or until the next video, I hope you guys have an awesome day, a great weekend, and continue to be safe.
Peace and blessings.
Yeah, wash those hands, all right?
Yeah.
Bye.
20 seconds.